As students across the Bay Area are heading back to the virtual classroom, many parents might be struggling to keep up with distance learning. This morning on The Nine, we're happy to help those parents find local resources outside the virtual classroom with a school survival guide. So joining us this morning to talk more, we welcome features editor from Sonoma Family Life magazine. Good morning to you, Melissa Chianti.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
It's great to have you. As I'm doing my work here in the office, my husband is tasked with distance learning with my two little boys, ages 10 and 11. Already they're fighting. We're 5 days into the new school year. I think many parents are afraid what November's going to look like.
Oh, yes, I'm sure. I mean, what has happened is completely overwhelming. I mean, it's not, we're not in normal times, and I think a lot of parents are putting pressure on themselves to do the distance learning perfectly, when really what they're doing is schooling in a crisis. And so how it's kind of a learn as you go. It's an unprecedented experience, and I think the thing that I try to communicate to parents is to be kind to yourselves and to be kind to your children while you're sorting out how to manage this unprecedented experience.
You have a couple of great reads. Look, more than a couple, but the few that I focused on when
Mm-hmm.
I virtually flipped through Sonoma Family Life magazine, there was a great article that had 9 mistakes to avoid when you're helping with
Yes.
distance learning. And number one was, look, don't try to copy school, right? Maplewood
Yes.
Elementary has been doing it for 100 years. You on the kitchen table
Exactly.
cannot be Maplewood Elementary.
That's exactly right. And that trying to do it exactly the way the school is going to do it is not going to work. And in some ways, you could embrace it as an opportunity to craft your child's learning experience, to that child. I mean, obviously it's not about creating more work, but more like your child his own personality and learning quirks, and that you can better able to attend to those as one-on-one learning or three-on-one learning at the kitchen table, than in the classroom.
I've heard from a lot of parents who say, my son has a love of cooking. Who knew? Or, my daughter's all about her bicycle these days now that she has so much time on her hands. How important is it to follow your child's lead?
Oh, I think it's very important. I mean, from what I've studied over children and learning and education over the many years I've been in parenting publishing, that following your child's lead is, it's amazing what can happen when a child is allowed to follow his passion or his desire, of what to learn. I think shutting down a child's desire to do something because it's not necessarily following a curriculum or what's expected, um, it can put your kid in danger of not enjoying learning. And I think cultivating a love of learning is one of the most important things to do for a child, because that serves a child through a child's entire life.
I think if there's one phrase that I've used more since the pandemic started when it comes to distance learning with my children, it has to be, I don't know. I say, look, it's been 87 years since I took fifth grade math, and I don't know. But let's learn together. Let me figure it out so I can help you. Do you really advise parents to kind of just be real with their children?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, first of all, I think kids can tell when you don't know. It's better if you just say it. If you just, and then that allows them to trust you more in the learning process. And it also, I mean, kids love to feel like they have power. And if you say, I don't know, it gives them a chance to say, hey, well, they can hit Google and they can look it up, and they can show you the parent. And that's actually a wonderful teaching device of, I don't know, why don't you show me? And it serves both getting the child to figure out the answer themselves, but also to let them have that sense of, hi, I knew something that mom or dad didn't know.
And that feeling of achievement and self-confidence is really, really what we are all after. Thank you so much for joining us to talk more. Sonoma Family Life magazine feature editor, Melissa Chianta. Thank you for joining us on The Nine.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, of course. It's a great read online. It's available to you now. You can learn more just by heading over to the long list of resources for distance learning we've put up from, look, district where you live, districts across the Bay Area and beyond, all sorts of digital tools, educational videos waiting for you now in the KTVU School Survival Guide at ktvU.com under the Schools tab.